Hello everybody, this is Steve and welcome back to my channel. So tonight I want to talk about my big Criterion flash sale pickups. Actually this was last Tuesday on February 27th. I picked up 4 titles, probably the most I've ever picked up at one time because I was like 71 points away from getting the $500 bonus where you can get that $50 gift card. So I qualify for that, but I'm going to wait till like October to use that, when the next Criterion sale is. If a lot of people may know, last year in 2023, the sale didn't happen till like March 21st. So we weren't totally sure if it was going to be in February or March because they waited till like when the David Lynch movie Inland Empire was released last year to finally do the sale. So that was really late, like a month later, than almost a month later than what it was this year. So yeah, really excited about these because actually. The first one of the 7 movies that I have here was a movie that I've actually already seen before. So get this out of the box, and I've got these in my stack here. So this first one was actually released 1996. It's a recent release, Spine number 1204, and the movie is Trainspotting. Actually, I bought the Blu-ray for this. If you've seen the 4K. The packaging for that is everyone's complaining about that, how it's like a paper sleeve kind of thing. Looks really poorly made. I'm sure eventually Criterion will re-release that in probably in a normal case like this. But so this one, obviously has Ewan McGregor as Johnny Lee Miller, has Robert Carlyle. This one, is directed by Danny Boyle. This one, it's been a while since I've seen this. I used to have this on DVD. And I got rid of the DVD a long time ago. I don't know exactly why. There's definitely one scene in this movie that's really disturbing, and I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it or anything. There's definitely one scene. Let me know in the comments if you can guess what scene I'm talking about, because it's one that's kind of turned me off on this movie. But the movie overall, I like the movie overall. They've actually made a sequel to this too. So this one, like I said, this is the only one I've ever actually seen out of these 6 movies before I actually bought them. So I'm getting to that point now where I've gotten so many of the Criterions that I love so much, a lot of the mainstream titles, that I'm getting to the point where either you start getting blind buys or you get out of the collecting Criterions. So the second film was actually one like I said, all these are blind buys after this. From number 2 down to 7 were all blind buys. But I wanted to see this one for a long time. It's from 1967, Spine number 959, and the movie is In the Heat of the Night. Really excited to watch this one. It's from director Norman Jewison. I think he passed away sometime last year, I believe. It's got Sidney Poitier is in it. It has a Ron Steiger. I've heard so many people talk about how much they love this movie. I think it's on 4K now. A lot of people said just buy it on 4K. But I'm a Criterion collector, so I had to buy this one on Blu-ray, and I'm anxious to check this one out. So like I said, the next 2 here were ones that I've actually watched last night. This one is Spine number 1171 from 1968. It's one that I was kind of concerned that this might go out of print from Criterion because it's from Paramount Pictures. And if you know the story behind this, it actually there's a lawsuit filed against it last year. But the movie is Romeo and Juliet. This one is, this one is directed by Franco Zeffirelli, and it's one that's, it's starring Olivia Hussey. Have you ever seen the movie Black Christmas? She's in that. This is only the second time I've ever seen her in a movie. It has Leonard Whiting and it has Michael York. But I like this one quite a bit. It's from William Shakespeare, obviously. So it's the first, maybe the first William Shakespeare movie I've ever owned. I love the sword fighting in this movie. Is really great. And this one was actually the only one, I guess the last Romeo and Juliet movie to get nominated for Best Picture. And I think it won for like a couple of Best Picture awards at that particular 1969 Oscars. So, like I said, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. And apparently, what I read on Wikipedia, it sounds like even if I guess the lawsuit was thrown out, it was filed with Olivia Hussey and Leonard Whiting actually filed this lawsuit like 55 years after the movie was released, and apparently the courts, I think in Los Angeles, threw the lawsuit out once, and I think they're gonna file another, they're gonna appeal that, but Apparently that won't have any effect on this. According to Wikipedia, it said that the Criterion release won't have any effect on that apparently. But like I said, if you know Paramount Pictures, they like a couple years ago they dropped they took back like Nashville, and they took back Harold and Maude and Rosemary's Baby. So like I said, I was kind of surprised that this one was actually released on Criterion, because apparently Paramount hasn't planned on re-releasing this through their own brand. So I enjoy this one a lot though. So this next one was actually much darker than I thought it was going to be. It's from 1976. It's spine number 957. The director is Elaine May, and the movie is Mikey and Nicky. This one, is starring Peter Falk as John Cassavetes. If you know, in the Criterion Collection, he has I think all of his movies are available. The ones that he directed are available in the collection, and obviously has Ned Beatty's in it as well. But yeah, like I said, most of it takes place over like one night, and then I think it kind of ends during the next morning, in daylight. And it's like I said, much darker than I thought it was going to be. And it does have humor in it. It's really dark humor. But and Elaine May, I guess she had links with Michael Nichols for a long time. She wrote a lot of the comedy stuff for him. But this movie is definitely not a comedy, and I think it was definitely for Peter Falk. I think it was he was doing Columbo a lot, and Columbo is definitely a comedy kind of a show and movies, and I think he wanted to kind of get away from that for like at least one movie, do something much darker with the mob is basically involved in it, and so yeah. I like I said, I'm not totally sure what I think of it. It's right now. I really like the ending to it. It's like really dark, definitely not Hollywood at all. And I'm glad I got this, because this is only like a third Peter Falk movie I've ever owned. So yeah, I was excited to watch this one. It was nice to see John Cassavetes. It's the only second time I've ever seen him in a movie besides Rosemary's Baby. So these last three were actually ones like I said, these were all pre-owned. And I really enjoyed watching all of these. Really, this first one, if you saw my Christopher Nolan ranking video, you'll know this one. But it's from 1998, technically, even though the Criterion says it's 1999. But this movie's spine number 638, and it's called Following. It's a Christopher Nolan's first film. Like I said, his first two movies definitely have a heavy, like, chaotic editing in them, and I like this movie a lot. It's a really simple. It's like 70 minutes long. It has John Nolan, he's the uncle of Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan. And if you ever seen the TV show Person of Interest, he's like the bad guy. He's like British, and he's like a bad guy on that show. But overall, the other two actors, they're not really known actors necessarily, but I think for his first film, I think he did a good job. It's like most directors, the first film is usually not great. This one's kind of an art house kind of movie, filmed in England. But I'm glad I own it, because like I said, I own everything else from Christopher Nolan. So these last two movies are actually both movies that I really enjoyed from famous directors, and they're both foreign films. Like I said, I try not to push foreign films on people necessarily. I don't think they're for everyone necessarily. They have subtitles, but this first one was actually a Japanese film, and if you know Japanese movies, they're very visual. I think easy to follow. They're not heavy on dialogue. So this first one is spine number 138. It's from 1950, and the movie is Rashomon. This is from the famous director Akira Kurosawa. Like I said, this is the fifth movie I've seen from him, and I've liked all of them so far. It's just one of the iconic directors. Just a lot of American directors are definitely influenced by this guy. He was influenced by John Ford. So John Ford's a famous American director. So it all kind of goes full circle with Kurosawa. But yeah, this one obviously has a Toshiro Mifune, and I think he's been in like 4 out of the 5 movies I've seen from this director so far, and so I plan to get maybe at least maybe a couple more movies from this director at least, and so like I said, I've enjoyed everything I've seen so far. So, but I really recommend people check out Kurosawa. So this last one was actually the first Russian movie I've ever owned. That's from 1979. It's spine number 888. And the movie is Stalker. This one from director Andrei Tarkovsky. This one has a really dark story to it, and a really dark movie too. But if you know the backstory is that this basically took place at like a nuclear waste, I guess, where like an explosion happened there in real life. And so the film crew and the director are all kind of putting their lives at risk. And most of the people that died, that were involved with this movie, worked on set. A lot of them have died of cancer. So just hear that kind of story, and then you see how dark the movie is. You kind of get that kind of eerie kind of feeling when you watch it. And it's kind of a long movie. It's one that I think if I watch it again, I'll enjoy it a little bit more. But it's one that it definitely left an impression on me. If you check on YouTube, you can see a lot of people talk about doing like reviews of this movie, and it does. Like I said, it's very dark. Okay, thank you for watching tonight. I was really excited to get all these movies, and like I said, blind buying with Criterion's a little bit safer than doing it with other boutique labels, because they make so many great movies. So I don't regret buying any of these, and I've enjoyed all of them so far. Like I said, I have 2 more that I haven't watched yet, but so far the 2 I watched on Friday night I really enjoyed, and I'd kind of recommend people check these out. But obviously, if you're new to Criterion, try to go with the movies that you're a little bit safer, maybe not necessarily blind buy everything. Kind of build your collection up, and then take some chances and get some other foreign films maybe, or art house films, or kind of there's so many different ways you can go with Criterion, and you can build your collection up, and it just kind of get a little bit more comfortable doing blind buys later. So that's how I'll have for tonight. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Please put a thumbs up on this video. It definitely helps out my channel quite a bit. And everybody have a great one. Thank you.